Everyone, I think, especially for all of us guests here, let's have a big thank you for Colonel Szynski and all of our men and women in uniform.
Yes!
But now I want to talk to you about your spiritual fitness test. Can you hear me okay here?
Yes, sir!
Because the United States military hierarchy has decided to impose something called a spiritual fitness test. And I'm told this costs to the tune of something over $100 million to impose this with our taxpayer dollars. And how this spiritual fitness test works is that you will lose points. You will lose points with the United States military if you don't report to going to religious services regularly. You will lose points with the United States government, the United States military, if you say no, that in difficult times I pray or meditate. If you answer no to many of these questions, you may fail the so-called spiritual fitness test of the United States government imposed through the United States military. And then they send you a report, and the report says, quote, that you may question your beliefs, ideals, and your values if you didn't answer those questions properly. And apparently, this questioning is deemed deficient, and they will direct that soldier to spiritual resources. Recently, not too long ago, the U.S. military sponsored an event called Rock the Fort. And this event was led by a fundamentalist organization led by Franklin and Billy Graham. Now, Billy Graham was the #1 evangelical preacher of the 20th century. And his son Franklin follows in his footsteps. And the Grahams have made very clear, based on their statements, that if they were to take a spirituality fitness test, they would pass it, because they often find comfort in their religion, and they often pray. So the government may be right when it concludes that people like that may not well question their own beliefs. But let's think about questioning beliefs and whether or not maybe it is a good idea to sometimes question our own beliefs. Let's look at the history of Billy Graham, who said to his very close friend Richard Nixon that he was concerned about what the Jews are doing to this country, and referred to the synagogues of Satan. That organization, headed by Billy Graham and his son, is one that organized a fundamentalist event here on this facility. It was Billy Graham who said at the height of the Vietnam War, quoting his version of Jesus at a huge rally in Texas, that, quote, I am come to send fire on the earth, Luke 12-49, and, quote, I am come not to send peace, but a sword, Matthew 10-34. It was his organization that organized an event proselytizing here on this base. Let us ask ourselves the question whether it is really a weakness to question your own beliefs. Because the Graham organization continues with a tradition under Franklin Graham, who now heads that organization, Billy's son, who says, quote, that he could not confirm whether President Obama was Christian, but Franklin Graham said, quote, there's no question that Rick Santorum is, quote, a man of faith. Let us ask whether it is really a weakness to question your own beliefs. For the Graham organization, with taxpayer money, made some earthquake relief money contingent on attending evangelical services. Now, this is in contrast. This is in contrast to the Richard Dawkins Foundation, for which I'm proud to work, which raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for people in Haiti and put the money directly into aid with no strings attached. It is Franklin Graham who recently proclaimed that he believes the end times are coming, quote, sooner rather than later. Let us ask whether it is not a weakness, but rather a strength to question your own beliefs. Let us ask whether it is a strength for us to question Franklin Graham's beliefs. Is it a strength? Particularly when the United States government gives Franklin Graham's organization a platform to engage in conversion on a United States military base. Maybe it is a strength to ask the United States military leadership about their oath to the constitutional separation of church and state. Maybe it is a strength to ask the United States military leadership whether it was right to allow fundraising by the Graham organization on this block for religious organizations while they blocked us in our effort for a food drive for homeless veterans here this weekend. Why would they block us and allow for that kind of fundraising? Let us ask that question of the United States military hierarchy. Because maybe those homeless veterans need that help, because maybe the end times won't happen this weekend anyway. And finally, maybe it is a strength to ask whether rationality and sound military decision-making was violated by giving a platform to an organization whose leader expressly says that he believes the end times are coming sooner rather than later. This is a real question, a valid and legitimate question of national security, because the person who helped lead this event, Justin Griffith, he has failed the so-called spirituality fitness test. But maybe what we need is a rationality fitness test. How about that? Because which would you rather see? Which would you rather see? Because I think Justin Griffith would do a lot better job of passing a rationality fitness test than would Franklin Graham, who says he believes the end times are coming sooner rather than later. Which is a better test? And let us also think very seriously about a rationality fitness test that would apply where Justin might not pass, but someone like Nidal Malik Hassan would pass. Nidal Malik Hassan did not deserve the rank of major. He is not like the wonderful men and women in uniform we have here with us today. But at the time, before the tragedy happened, he would have said, in response to those questions that he prayed often, he would have said that he turned to his spirituality for comfort in his religion, and it is entirely likely that he would have said that he did not question his religious beliefs before he killed those 13 people at Fort Hood in Texas. So let us consider a real rationality fitness test, because it's the right thing to do. It is much better to ask the tough questions. It is much better to even question your own beliefs, because when you apply rationality and compassion, then it will lead to a better world. We at the Richard Dawkins Foundation for Reason and Science in the U.S. have a 10-point vision of a secular America. And the very first point of that 10-point vision of a secular America is that we respect all our men and women in uniform, whether they are religious or not religious, and there's no religious bias in the United States military. Let's stand up for that. And let us now praise all of our men and women in uniform for their service to this country, because it doesn't matter what your religious belief is or lack thereof. It matters your service. Let's thank every single one of them.